Back to channel. Today we are going to start the bacterial genetics microbiology. The gene of a DNA carries the info for the specific biochemical or physiological property in its nucleotide sequence. So the all hereditary characters are encoded in genes, that is DNA. Chromosomal DNA are important in maintaining the characters constant from generation to generation, accurate replication. So small variations occur in the daughter cells. So the DNA is a store of the genetic material double-stranded. The bacterial chromosomal DNA is 4000 kb, that is 1 kb is equal to 1000 base pairs. The total length of the chromosomes is 1000 microns, that is only 1 millimeter. The plasmids are autonomously replicating, that is self-replicating cyclic double-stranded circular DNA distinct from chromosomes, present in the free state in the cytoplasm of the bacteria or extra chromosomal structures present in bacteria. They carry the genes for the functions other than the cell growth. Two types, there are conjugative, that are large and self-transferable, example are F and certain bacteriocinogen plasmids, and the non-conjugative are the small and non-transferable but transduced, transferred with the help of conjugate plasmid. So what is this transduction transformation? We'll see it. Example are R determinants and some bacteriocinogens plasmids. So episomes. Episomes are also the extra chromosomal genetic material. They are integrated with the chromosomal DNA of the bacteria or exist independently in the cytoplasm. They are similar to the plasmids but not possible to differentiate from the plasmids. Next we have the properties of the plasmids. The genes for the cell replication are present. They replicate autonomously. Two members of the same group of the plasmid can't coexist in the same cell and may express the phenotypically. Some have the apparatus for transfer, that is self-transferable, and transfer by transfection without cell contact. Actually transfection is that transfer from bacteria to humans. This is known as transfection. And next we have the some jump from the chromosomal DNA to the plasmid DNA or vice versa. This process is called transposition, and next known as transposons or also jumping genes. And next the plasmid are lost spontaneously or isolated artificially by curing agents. And the fertility factor is F present in the cell. We will observe this in conjugation next. If F is present, then F plus, actually F plus is male and synthesizes X plus. And the resistance, the resistance are having the resistant plasmids. There are the R factors, large plasmids. They are divided into two types, that is RTF and R determinant. RDET means small resistant determinant determine the drug resistance. A single factor may carry the gene controlling the resistance to multiple antibiotics. And the RTF is that contains the genes for self-replication and conjugation. Bacteria in production is attributed to plasmids known as bacteriocinogen. So mutations, there are three types of mutations: nonsense mutation, missense mutation, suppression mutation. Nonsense mutation is a mutation that creates a nonsense codon. You can remember this as you are away, you are gone, you go away. Means they are like nonsense, they are stop codons that are prematurely terminates growing peptide chain, result in the formation of partial polypeptide. Thus the synthesis of the protein is incomplete, does not contain all the amino acids, and is consequently becomes non-functional. Nonsense, as the name says nonsense, they are stops, so they are like nonsense, they are not needed. Missense mutation, the mutation which gives rise to an altered codon that specifies a different amino acid that replaces the amino acid normally located at the particular position in the protein. So this is called as missense mutation. Here this replacement may not cause any apparent change in the properties of the protein, or it may cause the total loss of the protein function. And next the suppression mutation. It is a mutation that restores the function of a gene altered by the first or already previous mutation. It is a hereditary alteration in the properties of the one bacteria which is mediated by the soluble DNA obtained from the another bacteria. It was discovered first by Griffith. He has done experiments on rat by using pneumococci, and Avery McCarty identified the transformation principle behind this. The principle is of DNA. And next, the mechanism. The bacteria becomes competent and double-stranded DNA binds to the sites. This DNA is cleaved enzymatically to form the fragments, and the fragmented DNA is efficiently taken up and incorporated into the recipient DNA. So what happens here is in transformation. For example, from some bacteria, the DNA material is released into the environment. The other bacteria takes this DNA into the recipient DNA. So this is nothing but transformation. That's a transfer of DNA from one bacteria to the other. It is used in genetic mapping to introduce the DNA into the bacterial cell, that is synthesis in vitro. Even we can do it by that is natural process before talked one, and now is in vitro. We can even make the bacterial cell DNA of our wish in our laboratories, and we can transform it into the other normal bacterial cell. So next, transduction. Here we can understand actually the transduction is because of bacteriophage, which is acting as an intermediate. So first the bacteriophage gets attached to the bacterial cell, and the phage DNA is injected into the host cell. You can say phage DNA. And next, the degradation of host DNA. Actually first this is host DNA, right? This host DNA is also divided, and as the phage DNA is entered into this, phage DNA is also degraded. So this is a phage DNA, the darker one is the bacterial DNA. And next, the phage heads may envelop the bacterial DNA fragments. So here, as this DNA fragments are released, actually this head of the bacterial phage again encloses the fragments. So sometimes it may enclose its phage DNA, and sometimes it may enclose also the bacterial DNA. So when it encloses the bacterial DNA and goes to the another cell, it just releases the another bacterial DNA, and by this transduction takes place, that is transfer of again bacterial material from one bacteria to other, but this time as intermediate the bacteriophage acts. Actually what is the bacteriophage? It's a virus having the bacteria in it. So the bacterial DNA fragments, when introduced in the new host, gets integrated into the host chromosome, the addition of the new genetic traits. So this is the transduction. Actually transduction two types. General transduction means, here you can see where is the transduction? Here we can see the gene transfer, in which the portion of DNA from one bacteria is transferred to another by the bacteriophage virus with the bacteria. It may also transfer the plasmid or the episomal DNA. Discovered by the Ginder and Ledberg in Salmonella. There are two types, generalized and restricted or specialized. In generalized, any segment of the DNA has roughly equal chance of being incorporated into the phage code, and the specialized, only particular segment of DNA is transduced by the bacteriophage. So lysogenic conversion is, actually the bacteriophage has lytic and lysogenic type of life cycle. Lytic is like similar to the bacteriophage, but in lysogenic life cycle what happens is the phage DNA is incorporated into the host cell, and the DNA has a prophase which multiplies synchronously with the host cell. So what happens in lysogenic conversion is, as the bacterial phage DNA enters the cell, same like this, but this time that bacteriophage DNA and the host bacterial DNA get incorporated and stays like that. So that is nothing but the lysogenic conversion, very easy, within the host cell. So the additional chromosomal element and the host acquires the significant new characters which are transferred to the progeny. Example, we have the Diptheria bacilli are toxigenic because of the lysogenic bacteriophage beta-phage. Elimination of beta-phage renders them non-toxinogenic. So when they have beta-phage, that is nothing but the bacteriophageal DNA, then they are toxic. But when this beta-phage is removed, they become non-toxic. So this is very simple. And next we have the conjugation. So we can understand conjugation by here. It's a very simple process. Actually first the male and female. The male is actually F positive. F positive means fertility positive, that is he can produce the sex pillars. Female is F negative. So what happens is this F positive, actually this is normal DNA of male, and this is extrasomal DNA or plasmid of the male. So from this plasmid, actually this plasmid is double stranded, and one strand removes and just it passes through this pili, sex pili. Actually this sex pili gets attached to the female pili, so this one outer ring may go to this and enters here. So this is again, as this entered here, it has only one so here you can see this one, it is entering here. As it is entering here, what happens is when it enters here, it also get double, and even this gets again replicated and double. So again both become normal, and even now this becomes F positive, that is what the female is converted into male, and again this has the capacity to conjugate with others. So this is as simple process. Mediated chromosome transfer in HFR. So what is this HFR? HFR means, so what we learned here, when this is transferring, sometimes this conjugation tube may break. When this conjugation tube breaks, only some part of this F positive's DNA may enter into another bacteria. So only that some part gets again attached to the host DNA, and it remains like this. So this is HFR. This is not highly frequency of recombination. Because again it gets it can again infect the other cell, because it's already having the host or having the another bacterial DNA. So this is what about HFR. RTF or cold factor is what? What is this cold factor? Let us see. It is plasmid responsible for the colicin production in the E. coli. The colicin is an antibiotic-like substance lethal to other enterobacteria. This plasmid col factor is transferred by the conjugation. So by conjugation, this col factor. Actually, this col factor all these are extra chromosomal, that is plasmid like, because here even in conjugation you see the direct genetic material is not transferred, but the extra chromosomal genetic material is transferred. So the same like cold factor. So what it affects we have learned. Next, RTF. RTF is a plasmid responsible for the spread of multiple drug resistant among bacteria. RTF and R resistant are the two components of the plasmid known as R factor. Actually this RTF R factor is responsible for the drug resistance. So whenever it gets transferred, other bacteria also become drug resistant. So what are the other causes for the drug resistance is the chromosomal and the extra chromosomal. Chromosomal means within, inbuilt of the bacteria. Why the drug resistant creates is because of mutation, that is mediated by the mutation in the locus that controls the susceptibility. So the low degree resistance to the one drug at a time, not transferable to other, only for one drug but not for all other drugs, and it is also not transferable. So it is somewhat like better if someone, it's somewhat good bacteria we can say. Preventable by treatment with combination of drugs, because for example for this is tuberculosis. Actually for tuberculosis we give 4 drugs, because one drug is actually the tuberculosis mutational to the one drug. So by giving 4 drugs, any other drug may be not resistant to the bacteria, and the bacteria may kill probably easily. So this is chromosomal, but extra chromosomal is somewhat dangerous, because here you can see the extra chromosomal, the transferable plasmid or troposon mediated by the genetic exchange, high degree resistance to multiple drugs, transferable to other organisms, infectious drugs resistance, not preventable by treatment with combination of drugs when it is multiple drug resistant, because whatever the drug you, it is resistant, it is multiple drug resistant, and it is also transferable. So it is as it is of genetically transferable, it is more dangerous, but chromosomal is because of mutation, so it is curable by using multiple drugs. So this is about that. And next we have the transposons. What these transposons are, they are like jumping genes. Here you can see this is a normal gene and this is a transposon. Actually the transposon has come from the other gene and it has got incorporated between the normal genes. So this is about transposons, and these are also the insertion sequence between the normal genes. And next we have steps of DNA fragments. Actually according to our interested gene, actually we can do it by plasmid technology. What is that? First we have a bacteria, and in that bacteria we have plasmid, we know extra chromosomal plasmid. In that plasmid we have actually different types of genes. So first one is resistant to antibiotics gene, and also there is one gene here which can be cut by restriction endonuclease enzyme. As we cut that, we can remove this and we can add our gene of interest. By adding the gene of interest, we know that this plasmid get again enters into the other bacteria by process of conjugation or any other process. It enters into the other bacteria and this colonies increase within the bacterial groups, and we can produce the desirable bacteria by our own wish, whichever we want. Actually it is used in laboratories to form large amount, like for vaccines or any other biochemical procedures. So this is very simple. First generation of DNA fragments. First we will take our desirable DNA and we will cut the DNA fragments by help of enzyme called endonuclease. And next, the cloning vectors. The cloning vectors are usually, as we discussed, plasmids and also bacteriophages. Cosmid, a hybrid vector containing both plasmid and phages. So actually we use these cloning vectors. Our DNA is actually inserted into this by using DNA ligase. We know ligase as a namesake is ligases. And next, joining of the DNA molecules. The final step in the construct of recombinant DNA molecule is join together of particular DNA fragment of interest to the vector molecule. This process is known as ligation and is done by DNA ligase. And introduction of the recombinant DNA into the host cell. Now whatever we have done is nothing but recombination, because we have changed this original DNA, added our desired DNA, and now we are inducing it to a host cell. So the suitable host cell, whatever it may be, so in the host cell it replicates and actually our colonies are formed. Detection and characterization of recombinants. And next, obtaining the desired products. List the various applications of genetic. Actually where we use this genetic engineering process, here you can see simple process what we have discussed now. So we use this gene cloning or recombinant DNA technique for growth of for production of hormones like growth hormones, insulin, thymosin alpha 1 in brain and lung cancer, hepatitis B vaccine, rabies vaccine, malaria vaccine, HIV capsid protein, and also you can see used to dissolve blood clots, urokinase, interleukin 2, and also form some antimicrobial agents and therapeutic interest like interleukin 2, tumor necrosis factor 8. So all these 6. And next, let us see what is DNA probe. DNA probe is nothing but it's a radiologically labeled or chromatographically labeled pieces of a single stranded DNA which can be used for the detection of homologous DNA. This is important. The technique is based upon the hybridization of test DNA with DNA probe. Hybridization is a technique in which two strands of the nucleic acid come together to form a stable double-stranded molecule. If the test DNA is present in the sample, it will conjugate with the DNA probe, of course, forming a stable double-stranded DNA. All microorganisms contain some unique sequence of nucleic acid within the genome that make them different from all other organisms. The unique sequence of nucleic acid can be recognized by hybridization with a probe which is unique for the particular organism. Various diagnostic DNA probes have been developed for identification of different microorganisms. So it's easily understood. The procedure is nucleic acid of the test is extracted and denatured before hybrid, because we need to denature and make the single strand. And next we need to the DNA probes contain unique sequence are added, and the double-stranded DNA formed by hybridization is separated from the rest of the labeled probe DNA and sample. The amount of probe bound to the sample is recorded and the degree of binding is compared with positive and negative controls, and results are interpreted. So advantages are the DNA probes have high degree of specificity, detect the minute quantities of DNA. As we all labeled it, we can easily identify the minute quantities of DNA and provide the reliable result in a short time, usually less than 1 day, on a large number of specimens. So actually applications are to find microbes which are difficult, impossible to culture, and detect microbes which do not have diagnostic antigens and virulent and antibody differentiation and latent viral infection to detect them, and rapid conformation culture organisms to identify the antibiotic resistant genes, and also to develop the epidemiological markers. So commercially available some of the DNA probes are Legionella pneumophilia, Campylobacter jejuni, M. tuberculosis, H. pylori, M. avium, Hem intracellulare, E. coli, LT and ST toxins, and herpes simplex virus. So next we also have hepatitis B virus, so etc. Write a short note on polymerase chain reaction. So what is this polymerase chain reaction is? It was first developed by Kary Mullis. Its principle is it's an in vitro method of producing large amount of specific DNA fragments of defined length and sequence from small amount of clumpers. Actually what is it? If you think this is a DNA sequence, we have took only the interest DNA sequence which is of high use for us or interest to study them, or to use some to, or it's actually used in detection of DNA even from the single hailstone and crime cases or some secret investigations like that. So we will take a small strand of DNA and we will replicate it by Taq polymerase and also RNA primer. So like that we can amplify a small fragment of a DNA into millions So this is the main thing. The procedure involves the following 3 steps: melting of DNA, because we need to first make it single stranded, and next annealing of the primers of the DNA. We have primers. And next the synthesis of DNA by adding the nucleates from parents by action of DNA polymerase or Taq polymerase, and melting of the newly formed DNA and repeating the process again and again. An exponential increase in the amount of DNA occurs. So RNA PCR is a modified PCR technique in which RNA template is used for the amplification. From the RNA template, from this RNA template, a complementary copy of DNA is obtained by using reverse transcriptase. We know this because we use RNA again to form DNA. The reverse transcriptase acts on it, and then the routine method of PCR used, which amplifies the complementary DNA. So in RNA PCR, only one difference is as RNA is involved, it should be again converted into DNA by reverse transcriptase, and the same process continues. So the applications of the PCR is a rapid method. One day has number of applications. It's a versatile tool useful in infectious diseases, genetic neoplastic diseases, forensic investigations, and also evolutionary studies in examination of phylogenetic relationships. In clinical laboratory, it can be used in the diagnosis of large number of bacterial, viral, parasitic and fungal diseases. Next, the last technique is blotting techniques. So what are these blotting techniques? Is to obtain the fragments of the DNA. First we have the Sutherland blotting technique. The technique was developed by electron microscope and Sutherland, and is named after him. Actually, this Sutherland blotting technique and Northern blotting technique are same. In Northern blotting technique only RNA is used, and in Sutherland blotting technique DNA. So first let us see this and we can understand this too. The DNA fragments are obtained by digestion with restriction enzyme, and the digested DNA fragments are separated by gel electrophorese. So the fragments are transferred by the blotting on the nitrocellulose nylon membrane, which can bind the DNA. So the membrane bound DNA is converted to the single stranded form and treated with the radioactive single stranded DNA probes. This results in the hybridization, forming a radioactive double-stranded segments which can be detected on X-ray films. Why they are saying X-ray films? As we added DNA probes to only look, if we put the X-ray on it, only we can observe the DNA probes clearly. And this is DNA hybridization used for the identification of DNA fragments. So the same process for Northern, but to observe the RNA fragments. And in Western blot is a technique used for the identification of proteins. It also follows the same method, but only proteins. So what this blotting is says, just we need to take a electrophoresis, gel electrophoresis, and erase the DNA line wise, and the fragments are formed. The small fragments are, because of small, they can move easily in front, and the large fragments they stay at the back. And finally, by adding the probes to it and by covering it with the X-ray, only probes are specifically seen and we can observe them. So in Northern blotting RNA, and Western blotting we use the proteins for identification of protein. The steps are same as Southern blotting except for the probe used. The probe used is specific radio labeled or enzyme labeled antibodies. Why you are using enzyme labeled? Because it's related to proteins. The test is used for the confirmation of HIV antibodies. So the Western blotting is widely used in HIV antibodies testing. So this is very simple lecture of bacterial genetics. So I hope you like my video. So please like, share and subscribe to my channel.